Hi everyone, it's Myriam and welcome back to my channel for the very last Inktober time-lapse video for this year. I have finally finished Inktober. Granted, I'm a little bit late, but before we talk about that, I quickly wanted to thank everyone that has ordered one of my Inktober booklets or both of my Inktober booklets. I'm amazed at how well it went. I did not expect this year to go half as well as last year, and it's gone better, so thank you so much everyone. I don't know, I never know how to thank people properly for this. I have about half of each booklets available still on my shop, so if you're interested in snagging either a 2018 booklet or a 2017 second edition booklet, you can go to the link in my description below and order your own. It's all pre-order, so I haven't gotten printed yet, but I'll be doing so. I'll be designing them next week and then sending them to get printed and hopefully getting them in the current of November, and then I can start sending them all out. All 2018 booklet pre-orders come with a complimentary postcard and sticker. And actually, talking about the sticker, I've put a little poll up on my Patreon page. It's free, it's public, so anyone can access it even if you're not a paying patron. There's a link to my Patreon in the description below, so if you'd like to vote on which design you prefer, you can head over there. I have 4 options and you can decide which one you think looks the best, and the most popular one will become the complimentary sticker that will go with the 2018 pre-order booklets. Prints and originals are all available on my shop, apart from like the 3 last ones in this video, which will be up tomorrow, and I think one of them has already been reserved anyway. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all the self-promo for now. I'm sorry for doing this in every video. I'll have a sketchbook tour of all my Inktober drawings tomorrow, hopefully, where you can see everything, and then I'll have a little booklet preview video once I've printed out and received the booklets. I am honestly so happy to be done. You have no idea. I'm so happy to be done. I felt so relieved when I finished the 31st drawing. I don't like kind of not finishing things, so it would have really bugged me if I hadn't, but not only that, but I also wanted to get a booklet and kind of do a design that kind of goes with last year's and stuff, so I was going to finish this year's Inktober no matter what. But the month turned out to be a lot busier than I was expecting, with like hen dos and the wedding and family visits and stuff like that, so it was all a bit tough. It was tougher to fit in the drawings this month than it was last year. In fact, last year I remember managing the Inktober, plus I was going at my boyfriend's at the weekend, so I had to plan ahead for that, and I also had a massive commission at the end of the month, really big commission that took me a while, and I juggled all that at the same time as I did Inktober. I would not have been able to do that this year, and you know what, I think part of the problem was that, I mean, a small part of it granted, but still something I need to look out for next year, is the fact that I chose a paper that was so much bigger than last year. Last year my format was A4, and this year I went for, I didn't actually realize I went for, I just picked a paper that I liked, and I didn't realize it was 10 by 13, so those drawings are actually quite a bit bigger than last year, so obviously it took me a little longer to put them together, which I didn't realize until halfway through the month, because that's how awake my brain is on a daily basis. So yeah, I have to look out for that next year. I might actually try and do a different format next year, maybe like square drawings or something smaller maybe. I don't know, try and figure out something that could be a little bit different from what I usually do. I like doing that with Inktober, kind of, because obviously I don't usually work with ink, so I always try to add something that's different to my usual practice in Inktober, because it's a good opportunity for that. So I'll see what I can do. I mean, I'm saying this as if I'm going to do Inktober. It might be that I decide that it's too scary next year. I might decide that I don't want to put myself through it again, but I doubt it. I suspect that in a year, the exhaustion and the pain I'm feeling right now will have faded into a distant memory, and I won't realise that I'm putting myself through it again at that point in time. Joking aside, I do love doing Inktober. I really do. It's such an amazing challenge and I have so much fun, and it's so good for my brain because it stops me from overthinking. And I've mentioned that a few times, especially with my kind of concepts, the kind of things I draw. It's so easy for me to have an idea and then just think about it to the death. Like I will think about it so much that I will end up hating it and not drawing it at all. So Inktober has actually been a really, really good practice last year and this year to stop me from thinking about an idea so much that I end up disliking it. It's a habit I want to get out of. I like thinking about ideas to the point where I kind of have a more critical point of view on them, because the first time I have an idea, obviously I usually love it because it's very fresh and new in my head, but sometimes it's not actually that good, so I need to sleep on it, think about it the next day and see how I can improve it. But there's a very, very, very thin line between overthinking and improving, and so I find that Inktober and the kind of immediacy of it, the fact that you have to create a concept every day and something that can't take you, I mean it has really, if I'm honest, but it can't take you the entirety of the day. I'd say each Inktober drawing this year has taken me about half my day. So I did a lot of admin in the morning, and then I would try and get a drawing done in the afternoon. And the drawing itself, usually once I got this concept done, would usually take me between 1 and 2 hours to put together. But the coming up with the concept and actually being happy with the concept and tweaking all the small details in my head was the tricky part, really. And I probably looked a bit odd because most of my time was spent staring out the window and staying really, really still. But yeah, I think people ask me a lot how I get my concept and how I manage to do a new concept every single day, and that's definitely what takes the longest. Like it might seem like it's really easy for me to come up with new ideas, and technically it is. Like I have a lot of ideas going on, but it doesn't mean I'm happy with most of them. So I write down every idea I have, but then I usually change them quite a lot, and that's what takes the longest. It's kind of finalizing the idea in my head, putting it into a context that I really like, actually finalizing all the details. That takes ages, and so it's not actually like finalized ideas take me quite a while. Having really rough ideas of things doesn't take me very long, which is why I keep a list, because generally I can then read it again a few days later and my mindset has changed, and then I have new ideas that arise from that idea. And I'd recommend writing down new ideas if you're worried that you're going to run out one day, because it's always interesting to see what your brain comes up with, and it's a good exercise generally, I think, because it forces your brain to start thinking about things differently. And that's generally how I think I trained my brain to come up with a bunch of ideas now, because it didn't used to be easy. I'd say now my brain is able to extrapolate on a lot of different sources of inspiration, but it didn't used to be the case. I used to be really stuck for ideas. I used to not have a lot of inspiration. Even like a couple of years ago, I didn't used to really know what to put together and what to draw, and it's become a lot easier the past year and a half or something. And so a lot of it was me training my brain to be able to come up with ideas when confronted with pretty much anything, basically. And that was it's still not super smooth a process, but I'm getting better, and I can feel my brain becoming a little bit more supple and a bit more kind of inventive when it comes to extrapolating on an idea or an image. And now we've come to the very, very last drawing, and those of you who've followed me since last year's Inktober may feel like this one reflects the last day of 2017 Inktober, and that's because it's an intentional choice. I wanted to create a piece that was along the same line as last year's, with a kind of a sense of renewal, a feeling of kind of liberation and relief, and just generally a sensation of being freed and of being refreshed, basically. It's I don't know why, but I like ending my Inktober series on that, because they're generally quite emotionally loaded. I'd say my concept tend to be quite dark sometimes. This year's was a mix between darkness and kind of lighter concepts, but there's definitely a prevalence of heavy mind and psychologically impactful symbolism in my work, so I like to end my series with something that feels a bit lighter and more hopeful. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this Inktober. Let me know in the comments if you managed to finish it, if you participated at all, how many days you managed, if you're happy with what you did, if you're not. I'd love to hear what your experience was like with the challenge. It was something that we were all in together, and I think that's part of how wonderful, why Inktober is as wonderful as it is. And I thank you again so much for being so supportive and so lovely with my own work. I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed this series so much, and I thank you. I mean, I can't I can't really put it any other way. Just thank you so much for still being around and being amazing as you are. I hope that you're all really well, and I'll see you tomorrow actually for the compilation of all my drawings together in a video. Have a lovely evening everyone. Love you all. See you soon. Bye.